Hi everyone, 你好. I am so glad to be invited by Debbie to share some Chinese characters with you. Please go to her Center for Healing and Integrative Medicine, as known as Trying. You can set up appointment with her through email or by phone calls. Get some nice healing for your soul. Okay, let us begin.
Some basic knowledge of Chinese pronunciation might help us understand the materials to come. The modern Chinese language, as known as Mandarin, uses a tonal system. The tonal system might seem strange to an English speaker at first sight, but it's actually not terribly difficult to understand. If we were to divide human vocal cords into 5 degrees using music as a metaphor, we would have do, re, mi, fa, sol, 5 degrees. And Mandarin has 4 tones. The first tone, if we were use the vowel a as an example, we would start with so, ending with so, as if you are driving a car on a flat ground. We would have ah, ah, ah. The second tone would start with mi, ending with so. We would have ah, 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 as if you are driving up the hill. The third tone is when you are driving down the hill and uphill again. We would have ah, ah, ah. It starts with re, and you drop to do, and then you go up to fa again. Ah, ah, ah. The last tone is a car going down the hill. Start with so, ending with do. You would have ah, ah, ah. Most modern Chinese words are monosyllabic, meaning that almost all of the Chinese words have one syllable. It is precisely because of the tonal system that one single syllable can express different meanings. That is how Chinese use the minimum amount of syllables to express the maximum amount of meanings.
With this in mind, let's take a look at the Chinese 5 elements, or in Chinese, we call it 5行. 5行. The 5 basic elements of the universe. 金木水火土。金木水火土. That is how conventionally modern Chinese would call these 5 elements in order. But in order to learn how to write them, let's start with the simplest. And Chinese character had a long history of changing, starting with the very basic pictographic drawing to now more abstract Chinese modern character writing. But you can still see the logic behind each character. Let me show you one example. How the ancient Chinese would write the word for water, 水. They would literally draw a river. After a few thousand years of changing, uh, this shape of pictographic writing became modern Chinese, such as this. Its pronunciation is 水, 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 and this is water. The next one could also be easy to guess. That is, of course, fire, 火, 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 and it got simplified to such as this. It still keeps the shape of the ancient drawing, 火, 火, 火. The next one is a profile of a tree. You would have branch, the trunk, and the root. This is, of course, wood, and it's pronounced 木, 木, 木. You would get this. It is a profile of a tree. The next one is a symbol for a horizon, and you have something above that horizon using a cross to symbolize that something. And what could be above the horizon, or what is the most common thing that you can see above the horizon, which is Earth. Earth. And our modern writing is almost the same as the ancient writing, such as this. Its pronunciation is 土, 土, 土. It means earth. And the last element is gold or metal. This one is the most complex in writing, but it's not difficult to really understand it. Same thing, let's start with the ancient writing. You would have 土, the earth, right? And metal or gold is always hidden beneath the earth. In order to give this picture a pronunciation, the ancient Chinese added the phonetic parts. This part is pronounced Jing, 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 which sounds exactly the same as the Chinese word for metal or gold, which is also Jing, Jing, Jing. You see here, the ancient Chinese changed a little bit the logic of how they create the writing. They would have the picture adding some symbols for the meaning and a phonetic part. And this whole thing gets simplified into this. And this is a modern Chinese way to write Jing, 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 Mu, Shui, 火, 土, 金, 木, 水, 火, 土. These are the 5 elements of the universe, or as known as 五行.
The Chinese healing philosophy utilizes the mechanism of how the five basic elements interact with one another to achieve the best harmony between the heaven, the human, and the ground. For the last part of our lesson, let's learn three more words: the heaven, the people, and the ground. Let's start with us. The Chinese character for 人 or people is a drawing of a profile of a man. You would see him standing to his side. This picture gets simplified into modern Chinese writing as this. Its pronunciation is 人 人 人. Imagine if we stretch ourselves, we would reach the biggest size, and that is the Chinese word for big. 大 大 大. However, there's one thing that is even larger than the biggest of us. We add one more hyphen above us, then we get a word for heaven. 天 天 天. Now let's get to the ground. First of all, the ground is made of earth, so we write the word for earth. And its ancient pronunciation is this character. The modern character for this one sounds very different from the ancient pronunciation. We still keep the writing, but the pronunciation changed drastically. The earth gives us the meaning of the ground, because ground is made of earth. And the next part is its ancient pronunciation, which is very different from its modern pronunciation. The modern pronunciation for the ground is 地 地 地. Let's review. 天 天 天, that is the heaven. 地 地 地, that is the ground. And us, 人 人 人, people, or the human being. I hope you enjoy it. Let's see you next time. 谢谢，再见。